Let's talk about the NBA Nuggets. The eventual champions, obviously. Well, not the eventual champions, the former champions, the 2023 NBA champions. The Denver Nuggets have really been an amazing team. I wanted to talk about them because I feel like it's incomplete for me to do a lot of these league analysis videos without speaking about Denver. Now, am I probably gonna add something new? And this is not to shoot myself in the foot, but I'm probably not gonna add a lot to the commentary. I am definitely gonna pose some interesting questions for them, but I will say like Denver have picked up their second half of the year steam, right? Which is where Denver just decides, oh yeah, we're just gonna start winning these games because we have to, and they've won 6 straight games. Before that, they had won one and lost two, and they've been losing games all year, uncharacteristic of them because they don't do that much. So, when we talk about Denver, what are we talking about in their season? Firstly, obviously, they're the champions. Nikola Jokic is the finals MVP. So they're in a pretty comfortable position. Their team hasn't changed. They have their players for a few more years before they either start to leave or have to get replaced due to cap issues. And their players are content with playing a role. You know, they're not one of the teams just forcing players out due to this very heavy wave that they've been doing where it's like, oh, you get money, we're just gonna kick you out. No, they like their players know their value. Aaron Gordon doesn't deserve the same money that a lot of the role players in the league do because he is like he deserves a lot of money, but he doesn't deserve, you know, like a superstar $30 million payroll. Neither does some of the other guys on the team because they don't, they don't play that way, or at least they're not in the position to do it. The reason why I say that is because they're gonna run into a cap issue. Their cap right now is pretty over, and it's gonna be over for the next few seasons. They have basically everyone except DeAndre Jordan and Justin Holiday signed for this season and next. And what I mean by basically everyone is most of the really, really, really important pieces, even though I would say that DeAndre Jordan and Justin Holiday are both very valuable pieces as they've put some, effort forth. And especially Justin Holiday, like he's been playing really well this season for Denver, even being a starter in some of their games, shooting 40% from three. That guy's been really good. Shout out to Justin, honestly. And those guys have been playing well off the bench. I feel like bringing them back would be something nice. They have a few rookies, which you would call Jalen Pickett and Hunter Tyson at the end of the bench. Those guys are obviously not going to play a lot because even though Denver needed them to replace some contracts, they're also guys which are not going to get many minutes in their standard role. Who we really are talking about is more Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and KCP. Obviously, Reggie Jackson off the bench has been amazing this season, having a few games and being able to win them championships when Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are not around, or even when there's some commotion in the team. He's always able to step up, and he's been having probably the best season of his career as a bench player, which is very impressive coming from a guy which is 33 and on the Clippers he was underutilized in my opinion. So now the real questions about the Nuggets. First, what are they gonna do with their team? Like, what are they? Because they have a championship aspiration now. Now they've won it, so they're in the same situation as the Bucks, where it's like now it's every season or no season. It's not about, oh, you this season we're gonna win. No, you're not Portland anymore. You won the freaking thing. You won the freaking championship. Now you're on the line every season. Every season has to be your season to compete. So that's first. Second, how are you going to keep your players around? I'm sorry, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but in the NBA, just like most other sports leagues, which are run like most other American sports leagues, there is a cap problem. Like most of these leagues will not, account for the fact that if teams are good, players get more expensive, and players get more expensive, that means that you have to go and trade them because you can't pay for all your players. And it's obviously a system that works, to not get overpowered teams. But for the Denver Nuggets, this is a striking reality which is going to hit them in about 2 seasons. Right? Because look, in about 2 seasons, you need to pay Murray. And unless Murray tears his ACL again, and God forbid, he tears his ACL again, by 2026 you'll have to give him another contract to extend him. Jokic is obviously there for a while. Michael Porter Jr. is there for a while. And Aaron Gordon is there with a player option until 2026. And I imagine he'll accept it. He doesn't have... Aaron Gordon doesn't have a lot to lose, and it's good money. He's going to be making $23 million. The problem is when you start talking about the players which have to come after these guys. Because these 4 guys, and especially KCP now that his contract is going to be up next season with a player option, now we're saying, okay, in between your top 4 guys, right, Nikola Jokic gets paid $47 million. $50 million next season. Jamal Murray gets paid 36. Michael Porter 35. Aaron Gordon 23, and KCP 15. Rough estimate, that's gonna be like $140 million of cap space just from those 5 guys, just from your starting 5. If you guys don't know, the salary cap is $136 million this season. And it's going to spike again because of the new CBA and the new contract deals that are happening. But those are not happening this season. So in between your first 4 guys, you already have so much money locked up. And then when you get to go pay these guys, I don't think the league is going to allow it. If you guys don't know, the CBA, which is basically a collective bargaining agreement, which are basically the guys that make the rules in the NBA, it's an agreement that is made by the NBA to basically just have a set of rules which are going to work for the league. They said that good teams, is going to be hard for them to sign their players because they waste too much money, or at least expensive teams. So that's a moment where you look at it and you're like, okay, how does that affect the Nuggets? Well, the Nuggets have players which they cannot trade for their success. KCP is way too important in the defensive aspect, and he's way too big of a contributor to just kick him off the team. He's a starter, he's a great player, and his percentages are conducive to wins, and especially those 10 points that he gives you with all of those guys around him. Michael Porter Jr., I feel like, is the most tradable piece, but getting a 16 point per game scorer from a 6'10" small forward who can shoot 40% from 3 and get 7 rebounds with 1 offensive rebound, meanwhile averaging 1.5 assists per game, a block and half a steal. Like, you're not getting that from most players, getting that big of a player which can shoot that well and actually, turn himself into a threat from wherever, from inside the basket, from outside, and that's always playing that way. It's very difficult. Then you have a guy, right, like Reggie Jackson, which has, even though he is taking minimum money right now, he's been hooping, and you would hope that if you're the Denver Nuggets, you can keep a guy like that. Aaron Gordon, which obviously he's non-tradable. That man and Jokic have a connection which is just amazing. And for a 6'8" power forward to get 55% from the field, he's ridiculous. He's actually ridiculous. And he's also great at defense and great at all the intangibles. And finally, Jamal Murray, which is the other guy which you can't trade apart from Jokic. His sidekick, 40% from 3, 48% from the field, extremely effective, just does everything correctly. So now you see what I'm saying. For the Nuggets, I do believe that they're the best team in the league right now when it comes to championship chance, not named the Celtics, because I made a video about them already. But I do believe that they do have an impending cap problem. Do I think that this is going to stop them from winning this season? I don't know. They've definitely been playing worse than last season, but I don't think they really care about wins as much. I think they care more about getting into the playoffs or the good seeding. And if they want to get the first seed, they're literally 2 wins away. So it isn't like they have to stress themselves over seeding because they're the Denver Nuggets and they've won 6 straight games. They can get the first seed if they want to. All that I'm saying is like, yo, for this team, where are you going to go for the future and what is your plan to either save some money, maybe renegotiate Jokic's so he can take less money like Tim Duncan did, or maybe you just ride out with your 2 stars and change the supporting cast.